We'll take a break now. We'll come back and hear from another eyewitness, Mia Taylor, who was on site that day and also had an encounter. Stay tuned. That's coming your way right here on Coast to Coast AM. Tonight, frustrated witnesses, as we talk about the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh. We've been talking with Willis Morgan, who is the author of Frustrated Witness, his website justiceforadam.com and frustratedwitness.com. You can find much more information, photographs, as he just mentioned, the side-by-side comparisons of Jeffrey Dahmer at the time and the sketches that were made of the man. That's all on file on the website. You can find all of that there. Go check it out and investigate this for yourself. Aside from Willis Morgan, there were other eyewitnesses that were on site and willing to share their story. Joining us right now, Mia Taylor was one of the many witnesses that were at the Hollywood Mall on the day Adam Walsh was abducted. And I believe authorities have never even contacted Mia. She was at the mall with her mother and brother the day Adam was abducted, as well as the day before. She saw Adam walk out with Jeffrey Dahmer. She recognized Dahmer because the day before he had an interaction with her brother. Let's welcome to the show Mia. Mia, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for sharing the story. I know it's a bizarre thing to have to kind of re-examine this scar from your past, but talk to me a little bit about your experience there. Now, authorities have never spoken to you officially about this case?
No, they have not.
All right. How did you get involved in this story then? How did that come to light that you were even a part of this?
Just a couple of years ago, I was contacted by Willis, and I guess he searched me out and finally found me, got my phone number from my daughter, and called me and asked me if I was the same Mia who had a brother named Joel. And I'm like, yeah, I had a brother named Joel. And he started asking me different questions about that day, and I'm like, yeah, I was there that day, and he, asked me, I'm like, well, how did you even get my name? He's like, well, Joe Matthews had mentioned this book, and had said that he had talked to your brother. Your brother was mentioned in it, and he told me how he looked for my brother and couldn't find him, and eventually found me. So that's how I even met Willis, and the first time I'd ever even been asked anything about it, what I'd seen in 1981.
All right, well, talk to me about what you did see back in 1981, and talk to me about the day before Adam was abducted. What happened to you?
On that particular day, my brother and I, we were in the Sears, actually, again, because my mom was there. And my dad had dropped my mom, my brother, and myself off at the mall. And my brother and I were walking through the store, and this guy had stepped out from between aisles and started asking my brother about this game. It's like a hole-in-the-ball game type thing. And I guess one of the, maze things. And he had stepped out from an aisle in front of us, and there was, we're both standing there, and he, starts getting inappropriately close. My brother kind of fixated on my brother asking him questions.
And this is one of those little handheld mazes that you teeter back and forth to make the little ball roll through it and try to get from point A to point Z, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're not talking about the video game systems or anything, but he's physically trying to interact with your brother and show him this.
Correct.
Okay.
And I felt real uncomfortable because his breath smelled like alcohol, and it was just he had a weird look on his face, and he was really fixated on my brother. So I'm like, I grabbed my brother and I said, he don't know nothing about that, and we went off because my mom was standing right there, and I'm like, there's Mom, let's go. And it struck me as weird, and that's why I noticed him so much the next day, because the guy was wearing the same clothes, the same scruffy face. It's just it just struck me as weird the way this adult would be asking a kid, "Hey, show me about this," and so that was the day before. That was a Sunday when that occurred. So the next day, we'd seen the same guy up at the mall.
And when you saw him the second day at the mall, what occurred at that point?
On the second day we saw him, which was a Monday, he, all the kids were over, playing video games and everything. There were some younger kids, my brother was one of them, and they're watching some older kids playing. And we were all told, hey, y'all keep it down and all that. And the lady asked where our parents were. And like, well, our mom's right there. And we, because we were all getting ready to leave. And my mom was getting ready to leave to go meet up with my dad, who was picking us up at a certain time. And so during that time, we were, walking out of the store and standing there, and my brother was pitching a fit because he wanted to keep playing with his little friend that, he'd been talking to. And my mom was like, no, his dad is here now. And that's when we saw the guy with this little boy who I think was Adam, telling him, no, he'd have the kid by the fingertips talking to him. And that's, my mom goes, no, his dad is here, or something to that effect. And we went ahead and left. But it was the same guy who I'd seen the day before. And I know the day before he didn't know a child was in. So, it was like, that was weird.
Right.
I was a kid myself, so it nothing really struck me until years later when Willis, had called me. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's, it is weird now as an adult. But,
but you're confident that the man you saw, according to the photograph of Jeffrey Dahmer at the time, matches the exact person that you encountered at the mall both days.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was emailed photographs. And, there was various photographs. There was probably 10 total. And the picture that I recognized as a person that I saw, I didn't realize when I chose that picture that it was a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer when he was way younger than what the general public saw when he was arrested and on the news and all that.
Right.
It didn't look like the same person to me, because it was a chubbier, younger guy, with more facial hair and, scraggly hair on top and everything. So I didn't put two and two together. He was like, well, do you know who that is? I'm like, no, I don't know who it is, but I know that's the man I saw. And the picture, I don't know if you've, had the pleasure of looking through the evidence that Willis has gathered up, but the mugshots from Jeffrey Dahmer in like 1981, 82, that is the same guy who I saw in the mall that day and the day before.
All right, we need to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll continue with Willis Morgan and Mia Taylor here on Coast to Coast AM. Tonight we seek justice for Adam Walsh, the little boy who was abducted back in 1981 and believed to be murdered. And Otis Toole is the suspect that the police department and John Walsh have settled on as their perpetrator. This is the man. Although no new evidence came out, there was no corroborative evidence at the time. There was just a recanted confession. There was nothing else tying this man to that crime. But here we have, in the first 44 minutes of the show, two people that were on site at the Hollywood Mall on the day Adam disappeared, and they both saw the man that they know to be Jeffrey Dahmer. Welcome back to the show, Willis Morgan and Mia. Thank you for hanging in with us for a little bit more. Willis, is there a point you wanted Mia to bring up as well? I want to make sure before we let her go that we've covered our bases with Mia.
Right. Well, I'm hoping Mia would hang in there for the open line last hour. But also, a couple things that weren't mentioned that Mia might want to say is that when on Sunday, July 26th, the day before Adam was abducted, when Dahmer tried to abduct her brother, on the way out of the garden center exit, Mia saw the same disheveled man standing next to a blue van. So she's also a blue van witness. Now, also, I want to say the photo that Mia is referring to, what she recognized, is the closest resemblance of the man that abducted Adam, because Jeffrey Dahmer was fired from his job in mid-September. In late September, he went back to Ohio. On October 7th, 1981, he was arrested at the Ramada Inn for drunken disorderly conduct, and he had a mugshot taken. And that mugshot can be seen at frustratedwitness.com. on the Dahmer link. I have photos, mugshots, and composites of Jeffrey Dahmer. You can see all the similarities there. But that October 7th, 1981 is the photo that looks most like the man that I saw, Mia saw, and other witnesses at the Hollywood Mall, because he still has his Florida tan and he still has the long hair. Unlike the later photos, 10 years later, when he was captured, he has a shorter hair and lost the Florida tan. So that photo. The other thing I want to mention is, had Joel been abducted, had he succeeded with Joel on Sunday, Adam Walsh would never have been abducted. We would never be talking about Adam. It would be Joel, because he would have never been able to go back to that mall the very next day. Because just like when Adam was abducted, that place was swarming with detectives and helicopters flying overhead. So it would have never happened. Adam would never be abducted had he succeeded. Maybe Mia would like to elaborate on some of that.
Yeah, I agree with Willis. Had I not stopped him from talking to my brother, because like I was saying, he was really fixated on my brother. And had I not, pulled him away, so he knows nothing about that, and my mom had been coming at that same time, he probably would have taken my brother, and we would have never even heard of Adam being abducted, because he would have been busy murdering my brother.
Let's, Mia, if we can come back to you later on in the show, we'd appreciate that. Maybe if you'd like to come back for the question and answer, if you're able to hang in with us at that time. I'll go back with you, Willis.